Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Spearhead magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, and of course, drop a comment down below. I love hearing about from you guys and it really does go a massive way to helping out the channel. Now, we're going to go diving straight into what we're getting with this week's issue. So, issue number 7 of good old Spearhead magazine. We have a couple of little items we're going to talk about first. So, first off, we have a plastic rule. Now, this measuring guide, or ruler, or anything like that you might want to call it, is a bit floppy, flimsy, but handy. So, everything moves in inches, so you are going to want something that goes to at least 12 inches, maybe even longer. If you want longer, obviously, the better way to do it is a tape measure. But, you know, this is a very good basic start for everything. We will get at least one more of these, I think, with the magazine's run. If you've collected previous magazines, you will know that you will have probably a handful of them. I'm not going to lie. This is the 5th magazine that I've been collecting. So this is number 9 of these, at least. So I've had ones obviously for 40k and Age of Sigmar ones before, but yeah, pretty cool. Obviously it is a little bit floppy. You can use a normal plastic ruler if you really wanted to. Personally, tape measure's better because it's a little bit easier, so you can hold it a little bit over the top of your minis so you can work it out a bit better if you wanted to. It's a little bit narrower as well, so if you are a little bit more in close quarters with a lot of things on your tabletop, then you can move it a little bit better when it's not in close quarters or by having something a lot narrower. But it's not too bad, it's pretty decent, it'll come in use. The other thing we're getting is dice. So 6d6 dice, when I can learn to speak. Yeah, obviously the more and more minis you get, the more and more dice you are going to need in total. Get yourself a dice tray as well, in all honesty, because it holds them all in one place when you're rolling them. But yeah, pretty decent. Obviously the more and more dice you have, if you have smaller hands, then you may want to get a dice cup, which is very handy for rolling multiple dice at once. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have hundreds of dice. I will never need to buy dice ever again in my life, I do not think. You only ever use d6s. You're not going to use d12s or d20s or anything like that for a normal game of Warhammer. You will use slightly different dice for Blood Bowl and so on, but not for a direct game of Warhammer. But happy days. Anyway, enough talking about dice. I don't want to bore you about talking about all the different type of polyhedral dice. Let's move on to our minis. So we get one sprue of good old Skaven Clanrats. Next week we get the other bits of these Skaven Clanrats, because we have 20 of these chappies all together. They are push fit minis. They are very well kind of designed push fit minis, and they are very heavily detailed. Obviously push fit minis aren't always the best. You can cut the pegs off if you wanted to. You can smooth out the peg. You can take a sliver off the side, because sometimes when you're pushing the peg into the hole, you get air trapped in there and it doesn't fit together properly. But pretty cool stuff, and obviously you're going to be wanting to keep in that spare ready for all your building, and obviously Skaven Clanrats are the fodder unit, so pretty cool stuff. Moving on from there, we actually go straight to our build guide in this issue. The contents list should be the read and our lore section, then our build, and then a play. I'm not sure if this has been glued in wrong, or if they've actually just decided to change the order of it and not hadn't updated their print. But it is what it is. Anyway, our build guide, obviously building up our good old Clanrats. There is a leader unit, or 2. There are some slide options for optional heads. There is also a different leader variant as well. You also have a musician and standard bearer that you can utilise, so they'll have that if you really wanted them to, and you can have one with a drum, one with a bell, you can have one with the pennant style, one with a different style of banner and all that type of stuff. entirely up to you. The downside with the banners is if you wanted to do them, you will have to paint your own design on them because they are quite a large flat blank bit of plastic, but it's not too bad. It's not the end of the world. Obviously then, all you're building up of all your other Clanrats, fairly straightforward. There's generally 2 to 3 pieces per mini, so they are pretty straightforward. In total we have 20 of these chappies over the course of 2 issues. They're really good fun. Obviously the Clanrats are the lowest unit you can currently get. There are a lower rung on the good old Skaven ladder of hierarchy, which is the Skaven slave. We don't get them, we just get Clanrats, which are pretty decent. Moving on from there though, we get a little bit of information about clans and councils of Skavendom. So, the Skaven are a divided people, from the lowliest Clanrat to the mightiest Clawlord, all plot and scheme against each other constantly. Amidst this mayhem, a semblance of order is imposed on the Skaven by a system of great clans, all known for their distinct cultures, tactics and roles in the wider Skaven society. Skaven society is maintained through a labyrinth of interlocking schemes and pure unalloyed cruelty. Whether they like it or not, every Skaven owes fealty to one of the great clans. Their huge gatherings ruled by fear and by cruelty, with every Skaven hoping to scurry up the ranks and get revenge on numerous rivals. Over the years, each clan has developed their own cultures and practices, mastering foul magic, sciences and military arts of the Skaven. So, the Skaven clans can exist in uneasy cooperation where they may trade with one another, trade skills, in fact return for favours or treasure and stuff like that, mainly Warpstone, in all honesty. There is also the Council of 13. The Council of 13 rules over the Skaven. The 13th seat is actually symbolically dedicated to the Great Horned Rat, while the remainder are given to the Master Clan or those of the other clans cunning enough to secure their place. In a chamber vast enough to hold entire armies, the 12 Lords of Decay plot, scheme and argue over the direction of Skaven kind, shrieking abuse and threats from atop of towering seats fortified against attack. So, Skaven are a little bit backstabby, and they do like to, plot and, sometimes kill each other off, because, why not? You get a little bit of information about different clans as well. So Clan Verminous, which is the more militaristic wing of the Skaven society. So these are your Clanrats, Storm Vermin and everything like that. They are the largest, one of the largest clans as well, because there are many of them, and not everything like that. So they may have obviously their Claw Lords, which are the main leaders of Clan Verminous, and they each kind of instead of a battalion, it'll be a claw and stuff like that, and they have talons and stuff like that, which are the smaller cohorts and everything like that. But pretty cool stuff. Clan Scryer. Clan Scryer are the devious inventors that have harnessed Warpstone to build wonders and horrors of incredible power, and they push endlessly for new innovations in slaughter. In every battle, they get to test a deadlier form of Warpstone ammunition and stuff like that. So they utilise a lot of things like your Warlock Engineers. They'll use the good old their snipers. They'll utilise Doom Wheels. They'll utilise all their different other good old crazy warp lightning engines and everything like that. So they utilise a lot of stuff like that. So they're pretty interesting and a little bit unique as well, because they are very more technically minded. So they're kind of more akin to your regular dwarf and everything like that. They're a little bit more against that. Then there is Clans Pestilence. So Clans Pestilence are the fanatical worshippers of plague and disease. They fight with a rabid fury, and they also utilise a lot of rusted blades, poisons, and even concoctions that may bring about plagues on cities and more. Other clans tend to steer a little bit clear because they also don't want to get ill. But yeah, you can get plague monks and a few other very, very plague-driven kind of Nurgle-ish Skaven. Clans Moulder are the crafters of flesh. They are intent on pushing their foul science to its limit. So they will use brew pits, they will spawn force horrible creatures, including things like rat ogres, and they like to experiment with different mortal beings. So they will capture elves, they'll capture humans, and they will do some weird experiments on them to make horrible mutants and stuff like that. But pretty fun, pretty interesting. But yeah, weird and a bit gruesome. Then we have Clans Eshin. Clans Eshin are the assassins of good old Skaven society. They generally are hired by any other clan to eliminate targets and main opponents and stuff like that. They use poisonous blades. They will utilise lots of knives, daggers, throwing stars and all that type of stuff with their night runners, gutter runners, and even death masters as well, which are pretty cool. And then we have the Master Clan. The Master Clan are mainly your grey seers. They utilise a lot of magic, and they'll occasionally intervene when they need to in direct battles, but generally the way they tend to work is they will stay back and command from afar. That's probably the best way to describe them, but they are really, really interesting, and they do generally have a little bit more of a link to the Great Horned Rat. So, pretty cool. Then moving on, we get more of our basic rules. So, what you've learned so far is things like attacking and everything like that. So, already having two minis base to base and attacking each other. You need to learn more and more and more about playing the game because you're going to want to play it over time. So, moving and charging. All through this, you get to kind of recap how to utilise all your bits and pieces. But now, we're also going to find out how to utilise movement. So all your move abilities, so obviously every mini can move a certain distance, whether it's 6 inches or 12 inches. You can utilise a lot of that, and obviously you're going to be using it regular. You also have the ability to charge with some minis as well. Obviously through both of them it gives you a whole detailed way of how it works. So whether you're flying, you can kind of fly over enemies if you've got flying units, so like the prosecutors or one of them and stuff like that. Pretty decent, and you can just go over the top of a lot of things without actually having to intervene and kind of get stuck into it. Otherwise though, you can kind of move into combat range and it's all teaching you everything like that. Charging, slightly different from movement. So charging means you can push forward against the enemy and not kind of get forward. However, you have to roll with that as well. So you are going to be rolling a lot of that type of stuff. See how exactly far they can charge. So pretty cool stuff. And obviously it's just running into battle a lot of the time. Then moving on from there, we have a nice basic battle, all teaching you how to utilise your movement. So you're going to need your Lord Veritant, Liberators, Rat Ogres, and you're going to need your battle mat, dice, wound markers, measuring stick, and all that type of stuff. And it's all have a bit of fun with it. So going through that, we'll teach you more and more how to utilise all the new rules that we're learning, and you'll learn more and more over time. All very, very good stuff, in all honesty. If you're going to be playing bigger and bigger games over time, you're going to need to learn more and more and more of how to utilise all these different rules, but pretty good stuff. Again, another issue where we get more of these wound markers. They do come in handy. As I say, glue them down onto card, cut them off card because it's less flimsy than just paper. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. And then finally, we are actually going to move straight into next week, which obviously issue 8 is the rest of our Clanrats. We're also going to learn more about Clans Verminous and a little bit more to do with the combat phase as well. We'll also have the paint guide for these chappies, so it's all to come. And then obviously we're going to get more and more, and obviously the magazine goes on and on and on. Obviously there are 90 issues to this magazine's run, so there's a lot to look forward to, and, you know, a lot of different factions, so should be really good fun. Right, that is it from me. I'm going to get going now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you sometime in the near future. Bye-bye now.